GlobeChain is the largest and fastest growing ESG reuse marketplace that helps companies become more sustainable, save money, and achieve their ESG and SDG targets. GlobeChain connects companies from the construction, retail, hospitality, and office sectors with nonprofits, small businesses, and people to redistribute unneeded items, reducing waste from going to landfill. From fixtures and fittings going to thrift stores and being upcycled by fashion students, to construction material being reused to help build schools, items are requested super quickly and help generate impact to local communities. So far, GlobeChain has diverted over 58 million kilograms of items from landfill, and they've helped over 50 million people across the world, saving them 350 million pounds through reuse. Check them out at globechain.com. When so much news about the environment is doom and gloom, how do you make sustainability mainstream and get as many people as possible involved? Today's guest is Maxim Gelmann, the founder of Stroodles, a company that creates fully compostable tableware.
Hi, my name is Maxim, and I'm better known as Mr. Stroodles, or now Don Stroodles.
Stroodles is on a mission to go beyond just replacing single-use plastic. They're looking to completely change the way companies and people talk and think about sustainability.
It's so good, drinkable and eatable.
Hey, Maxime, thank you so much for joining us on the Sustainability Champions podcast. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. Really cool. Very excited to be here.
Appreciate that. So to start kind of big picture and go big, and then we'll go into the details. Can you briefly describe what exactly is Stroodles?
Yeah, so at Stroodles, it's basically like the big buzzword, we're edible tableware. But basically, like, I'm trying to do something bigger than that. So like, basically, I'm trying to change the perception of sustainability. I'm trying to show how easy and fun sustainability can be with our range of like pasta drinking straws, edible spoons, edible cups, edible bowls, edible plates. So basically, you can go enjoy your meal and feel good about it. So we're just trying to change the world one Stroodle product at a time.
Awesome. So I suppose there are two things to talk about here in terms of what the current status quo is. One is the single-use tableware and all the challenges associated with that, but also what the current perception of sustainability. So if we start perhaps with the more kind of the easier one in some ways, what is the current situation with single-use tableware as it currently stands?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I guess everyone knows like the facts, the numbers, that like single-use tableware is everywhere. Plastic is slowly being banned, but then again, like the other day, someone said, "Oh yeah, look at Leon's; they still do plastic knives." Again, technically, you're still allowed to use what you have on stock, so I guess they must have had a lot on stock. But yeah, I mean, it's all out there, just because of the convenience that we need. I mean, from market to, I mean, COVID didn't help, obviously. Like, it kind of like I guess there was a downward trend in the sense of like, oh yeah, let's use less. But then obviously with COVID, hygiene, let's single packet. So kind of the curve, we kind of ended up in a beautiful downward trend, but then it kind of all went up. So unfortunately, it is omnipresent. And then, and then obviously, yeah, there is the replacement. So there's the PLA replacement. However, again, I guess we'll come to how I fit in later, but like, so for example, again, it looks like plastic. So cornstarch, avocado, and everything. So then you still have to explain to people, oh yeah, this is not plastic, this is so and so. Plus, on top of that, the facilities are not really available. So it's a lot of like greenwashing going on. So it's just basically full security. I mean, a little bit like the security checks at the airport make people feel like there is actually security. So here, same thing, it's all this compostable and so on. So I mean, this is all just like, yeah, to give that feel good feeling to us, to people. But as we know, the facilities are not there. Plus, it's not definitely not being disposed of in a way, even if the facilities would be there. So yeah, there is a few alternatives out there, but then also wooden spoons no one likes because it leaves a taste. Paper straws go mushy, so it's kind of like good enough, but then like not, but then like the next cycle is just not really working.
Mm-hmm. That's the current situation with tableware, and I think you're right. A lot of people do know these situations. It's one of the most kind of obvious uh, things in the sustainability world is, don't use a plastic straw.
Yeah.
That was kind of like yeah, it's the first thing I think that everyone thinks of. But you mentioned also that you want to change the perception of sustainability, which I think is a much bigger and broader and also in many ways a
Yeah.
more interesting topic. Not that tableware isn't interesting
Yeah.
and the work you're doing isn't
I
important,
know.
um, but what do you mean by changing perception of
Yes.
sustainability? What's the current perception?
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Yeah, so basically, so why I set up the company is that, like, I mean, I believe, and again, obviously, don't want to offend anyone, but like, so sustainability at the moment is perceived as a big, or like communicated slash perceived as a big negative concept. It's just like the communication around sustainability, or again, crisis situations by default is like the I guess what's taught somewhere or whatnot, like to be negative, i.e., like polluted beaches, dying animals. So it's kind of like guilting people. So I mean, that's like the information overload, the wrong guilting. And I guess we're all human. We don't want to be like, it's like being back as a child where you're being kind of like screamed at by your parents, finger pointing, oh, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. You switch off.
Right.
The same thing happens here. Like it's all kind of like very negative perception, and like, yeah, people realize, yes, they might have watched an amazing movie on Netflix or whatnot. Yeah, you're emotional, you're in the moment while you watch it, but at the first opportunity, for the described reasons, whatever, WhatsApp, kid screams, you switch off. And so a lot of people want to do something, but they don't know what to do. And so basically my idea is like with Stroodles, that like we need rather millions of people doing sustainability imperfectly rather than a few doing it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And also that the angle to communication needs to be in a fun way. So if you look at all my branding, it's the little Mr. Stroodles character. It makes people smile. It makes people kind of like, I'm setting a very different tone for talking sustainability, basically like the happy, it's fun. And I'm saying, let's draw a line. I mean, again, no business is perfect, no one is perfect. Clean, let's draw a clean, like a clean line, start with a clean slate, and let's celebrate the small wins. And basically in a positive way, I guess we can explore that a little bit further. So what I mean by my mission in that sense is just like to approach it all in a fun way and inspire people how easy and fun sustainability can be, and then be one of those touch points for people to make a change. I'm not, because it's impossible for radical change, and I'm not gonna claim I'm there to change the world, but like I want to change the KPI, the measurement of sustainability communication, and I want to approach it from a fun way, kind of sustainability 2.0 type angle.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. And I'm looking forward to going more into that, because I mean, we've talked about this in the past, but that's what Sustainability Champions is all about. And I think that's why we have so much in common in terms of our approach, because Sustainability Champions is really, we're looking to share the other side of the story. There's a lot of doom and gloom in the media about the environment, and it's important to understand and to learn what the challenges are that we're facing. But there's a point where so much negativity, either for many people, it either makes you feel apathy, meaning you just don't care at all, or the other side is, unfortunately, there's a lot of eco anxiety now going along, where people are so anxious and depressed that that's neither one of those are productive. When you don't care, you don't do anything, and when you're feeling so anxious and overwhelmed, you don't know where to start, so you also don't do anything. But that's not helpful. And it's not a good place to be. And so what we do with Sustainability Champions is showcase people who see these challenges like you and who choose to take some form of positive action. And in that process, hopefully either inspire people or motivate people, or at least get people a little bit out of that funk. And maybe, maybe create a movement if possible. I mean, also, I don't want to claim that we're doing more than what would Sustainability Champions be ideally. It's like that. And I think that's what you're saying as well. It's, let's just sustainability 2.0. Let's look at this thing in a completely different way and remember the good parts about it as well.
No, correct. And it's about like the choice. So again, I want to say, or like by now, like 3.5 years into it, we've cracked sustainability communication, i.e. kind of what you said earlier, like we found a way to talk and to cut through the doom and gloom and reach anyone from a 2-year-old, well, maybe not the 2-year-old. Well, although I say that, but then like if we like, I have those big pop-up banners, like our company colors are very bright, kind of like orangey. So children who probably even younger that walk past, they even like show their finger, because I guess it's so yeah, we can reach a person like from 1-year-old to 60. So we've cracked that bit, and it's the communication. Like I was in an event yesterday, it's kind of like saying, okay, yeah, you can still go get drunk, but do it sustainably with a pasta straw, or like whatever, you chuck it after in the water, it's appetizer for the fish. It's just like framing the mind of people by kind of just having fun. And I think, and that's then, as you said correctly, yeah, it's just like it takes a very different toll, and like it basically, I like, again, and you're trying to do as well. I want to rewire this sustainability, and the other point we didn't mention is compromise. So the other big stereotype about sustainability is that it means compromise, i.e., like I need to change my life, I need to change behavior. So even technically, like using a reusable bottle is a compromise, because you consciously need to get up in the morning before you leave, fill it up, carry it with you, don't forget it, like an umbrella. So you can't demand that of 99.9% of people. So I swore, or like the core values is like, yeah, all my products or everything I do is uncompromising. So if you don't know it's a pasta straw, you'll never know. So you enjoy your drink like a straw, you enjoy your cereal, but in an edible bowl. And I think that's the big thing. So I want to show people that like sustainability is not this huge thing where you need to change it. You can do that later if you want to, but I've developed like literally baby steps or even less for someone who just comes out, let's say, to London, just go get drunk. That's fine. They're still gonna talk about the pasta straw in their drink, just because one of their friends gets it. So that starts a conversation. And so all I want to do is create that one touch point that like maybe 1 year from now, 2 years, 5 years from now, maybe they will choose that cucumber not wrapped in plastic. But like I want to just like kick in those dominoes. Like I might be domino number 1, I might be domino number 3, 5 out of whatever 20, 30, but that's fine, because I believe that this is the way to make that radical change, or like that gradual change eventually.
That makes sense. And I like what you're saying there. Just on the point of uncompromising, because I think this is something that's really important. And from a sustainability product point of view, I always think about this, where the quality of the product has to be better than the fact that it's sustainable. Because for any product to be successful in the long term, I think it's one of those things where, oh wow, great, this is an edible straw and I love it because it's an edible straw and it happens to be sustainable, sort of thing. That I think that's any product that is sustainable needs to start that way, as in it's great because it's a great product, and if it's better than the sort of the normal way or the conventional way of doing it, that's the first and foremost thing. And then also it happens to be sustainable. And I think that's what you're saying about the uncompromising part, where no one should feel the difference, or they should think it's a superior product anyway.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly. It's like no compromise on quality. I mean, especially in food, like that's the main thing. Because I mean, yesterday we were at like presentation to like all chefs. I mean, like the bowl just has to keep the integrity. And yes, it's just like the big value add, exactly as you say, is like, yeah, it's sustainable on the back of that, but like it just has to live up to the closest benchmark, which is a plastic straw, or whatever, paper bowl, bamboo bowl. So yeah, correct. I mean, like it's quality first, in some form or another. But then again, I'm not 100%, like I don't have a full 100% opinion like where this stands, i.e. like literally quality first and then sustainability is kind of like a side effect, because I still think, just judging by like how it was my products are perceived by chefs and so on, like people are still, you can't have like a totally awful product, but like people are willing still to compromise. But I think it has to be in context. Probably for 80% of cases what we just said is true, but I think just because how strong sustainability is as a topic, like I think people can compromise, but not the norm, or depending on what, I guess.
And I suppose it's it just depends on how mainstream it's going to go, because I think most people well, people who care about sustainability, like
Yeah.
me, I will compromise a bit. And I think for everyone, there's a breaking point, like even for the most hardcore person
Yeah.
there's just a point where if the product doesn't work, it's not worth it. And in some ways that's more
Yeah.
wasteful.
Well, exactly. But see, like, because see, I'm targeting exactly that other, let's assume kind of like for sake of argument, 1% is sustainable and like whatever you described and now as hardcore, or like even let's take the reusable bottle as the minimum. Like
Right.
I'm targeting exactly those other 99% or whatever that I don't have the research for that, but like
Yeah.
the other 99%. And so for them, yeah, like this argument is 100% true. I need to give them something where they don't feel so as I say, like a lot of my bars, they don't even tell people it's a pasta straw. So I guess people will never know. So I remember when I didn't write people on like Instagram direct message, oh, thanks for using our pasta straw. Oh, really? It was a pasta straw. I didn't realize. So, and that's exactly that effect, because only then like something subconsciously gets rewired. Oh, wow, cool. Sustainable, but it still works. So yeah, exactly. As you say, like for like it, because I want to touch the mainstream. I want to get the people who just out there drinking, not caring again hypothesis. But like yeah, and there, yes, it's definitely quality first.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I think the perfect example where people say, "Oh, that was a pasta straw. I had no idea." Like
Yeah,
that to me, if I at least from if I were you, that would be such a win, because
correct.
the alternative is people say, "Oh, that was a paper straw." I know because it was awful,
Yeah,
and it broke down and within half an hour,
yeah,
whereas with a pasta straw, I had no idea. Excellent.
yeah,
That means the quality is there, the integrity of the product is there,
yeah.
and
Yeah, and it's this playfulness, because I think again, like you see it in all the other industry. Why is gamifying things is the big thing in tech?
yeah,
I mean, technically, I'm doing the same thing, and there's actually more. So an anthropologist, I think that's the right description. Like a friend of mine, like she actually told me what's a little bit is happening, kind of like from a brain perspective, because basically, because all my things are edible, some taste better than others,
right.
but like this thing it's edible, it's kind of like create a very different synopsis, and like it creates like, so it associates sustainability with fun through that process of kind of like
Huh,
eating something. And I've heard
interesting.
that a couple of times now. So a lot of people were telling me, if you want to kind of build your brand and bring your brand home, like it was like a brand advisor I had, he's like, yeah, make little gummy bears or whatever in the shape of your character, because like this eating things creates or like it's one of those things that helps to rewire and kind of bring your message home again. Like don't ask me about research or whatnot. I can just tell you what like a lot of like individual people told me, and kind of like that's why like I suddenly started explaining, okay, yeah, that's why people, well, why I get my message home is because yeah, it's suddenly people associate fun with sustainability.
What
Yeah.
exactly what exactly is conscious consumerism?
Well, look, I mean, like in my opinion, it's like and that's actually exactly where I wanna what I'm trying to do is, let's say you are in the supermarket aisle, and let's say let's take the more simple example, more common, like you're in the vegetable aisle, and you're choosing the cucumber not wrapped in plastic. We won't go into the topic what is better or not, because I'm sure there's a lot of research on that. But like it's just like consciously standing and like making a shopping decision for for reasons that are like more ethical or bigger than you. Or in that sense, like you are now taking more my example, you are in the whatever the categories are called in the homeware aisle, partyware aisle, and you choose the pasta straws, although they do come at a higher price point, consciously, because you want to deliver the values to your kids, you want to impress your guests, you want to give a presence with a message. So it's just making those conscious decisions. And I think like over time it becomes an impulse. So like you naturally, like, because I think exactly where I touch people, I probably like giving them that first touch point where they consciously stand right in front of that aisle and look, oh yeah, maybe I should choose those. But I think like eventually it will get people to that fact of like, I'm buying that for the right reason. That's why like you see a lot of brands displaying, even like I think Innocent or whatever, I think they started back then, Innocent, the juice company, like displaying brand messages on the because again, like it's not only about like full sustainability, it's again like in our generation now is buying things because of the brand. like yeah, and you're willing to pay premiums. Yes, I think the quality compromise is naturally not there because it's normally always better, but like it's just making conscious decision because you want to be associated with a particular brand or product, or in that case then packaging. Cucumbers not necessarily branded. I'm sure there's some of that. There's branded bananas, Chiquita, whatever. So
That's
I'm sure
true.
there's branded cucumbers somewhere in the world. But yeah, it's just making conscious decisions, I guess, for things that match your value system. I guess Tony's chocolate is probably like the biggest example. Although yesterday I was with a gentleman doing hot, like their own hot chocolate here in London, quite a famous chain. Like, so I learned a lot about chocolate. But like, yeah, so but like Tony, like he's been trying to disrupt that market, and people started buying it. I mean, it's so much more than whatever Cadbury's chocolate, but you're buying it for those right reasons. And if you open the package, it's all messaging.
Everything we're talking about with branding and education, and we'll talk about education as well, it really is shaping the conversation about sustainability toward positivity, because like you're talking about, people want to learn more about the product, and that's your opportunity to educate, but also to shape the conversation. So and I suppose we haven't specifically talked about why is it so important to you to change the way people are talking about sustainability?
Well, because I'm seeing that, like, well, in some form the current methods aren't working, and like as like kind of back to my point, it's like I believe like that we need rather millions of people doing sustainability imperfectly. So like it's how do I reach those people? Because I mean, at the moment there's only extremes of like this big movies and so on. Same with like companies. So when we approach companies like from like the big well-known brands, it's like, oh yeah, we can't talk about sustainability. I mean, let's say so a restaurant group in London, I mean, they have almost no waste. I mean, if they do like old fashioned, my favorite cocktail on the side now, it has an orange peel. So they reuse this orange. So instead of throwing away like every bar does, like most bars do, they make like marmalade or whatever, not garnish out of it. So but they can't talk about it because it's not group wide. It's not like the big stuff. So at the moment, the problem is like what I'm seeing, like having talked to corporates now for like 3.5 years, people can only talk extreme. So either you do nothing or you do everything right, whatever, your whole stadium is green and so on. But there's so many small things that people are doing, and that's not being celebrated. So hence, like that's the same thing then reflects obviously on society, and that's why the stereotypes come from that we discussed earlier, because people only see the big things, because companies can only put the big stuff in the CSR or whatever, and when they do the IPO, B Corp is like a huge thing. So that's why like we created this Mr. Stroodles approved label of kind of like I select companies and so forth, and like then basically give them this Mr. Stroodles approved to let them celebrate sustainability. So I'm sure like a lot of us remember, or like some might be too old, too young, like so in Microsoft Word or like Microsoft Office was a little paperclip guy, like he was guiding people that take the negative, because a lot of people hated him because he was obviously always appearing, but like technically I'm trying to develop the character into a similar fashion, that like here, Mr. Corporate, instead of putting all the stuff you do on like a white page and your social responsibility report, use the character to talk sustainability, to basically like him with a speech bubble. It's a very different mindset again on talking about all the great stuff you've done, and let me help you celebrate those wins. I understand that big companies are, I don't know, ashamed, afraid, whatever, why they're not talking about the big stuff, but like there's all those things. Like it's about like it's important to tell people that there is small changes that are possible as well, because the problem is like people here, like I mean everyone knows, oh yeah, small changes, domino effect, like basically big wave and like a ripple effect, but like it's all like people don't see examples of it because it's not communicated. I mean that ripple effect analogy, yeah, everyone heard left, right, and center everywhere, but like no tangible examples. Just because, I mean, it's all a vicious circle, just because the big guys don't talk about it as well. because they can't, because their PR departments don't let them, whatever the reasons are.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I've never actually considered that. Yeah, that the little wins aren't celebrated enough, and so people, it kind of sends the message, I guess, on a broad, broadly speaking, that either you do everything like you're saying, and you have to go really big, or you go home, so to speak.
Big or go home, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, it kind of sounds like if you yeah, unless you completely change your entire lifestyle, then your saying is actually, as long as you're making one little change. I spoke to the CEO of a company a few years ago on the podcast, and sort of what she does, to be sustainable at home. And she said that they set themselves a challenge at the beginning of the year where every week they will make, as a family, they will make one little change around the house, and they'll just keep adding up. And so, they started by swapping out their toothbrushes, maybe, changing straws if that's something they use, just little changes. But what ends up happening is you start running out of little things because eventually you do it all. You don't buy, you only use reusable water bottles, and after a year, 52 weeks, all of a sudden you're changing your electricity, you're like, changing the types of cars that you drive. I mean, if you really keep going with it, but it is a cascading effect, and it has to start with something very small. Or it starts with something small.
Well, exactly. And so that's why, like, with our Mr. Stroodles approved label, like, I want to give it to, like, whatever, hotels, events, and so on. So I want it to become a consumer choice. But it's not like, I don't want it to be as difficultly and like costly attainable as a B Corp or whatever, like a vegan. It's about, like, you do, like, the example I described, like, you suddenly turn your peels into marmalade or whatever, or garnish, like, here it is. I mean, it's just like allowing people to talk about it. I think, again, like, I want to change those extremes. It's probably a lot of red tape with a lot of the bigger companies around, like their PR departments, but like, it's kind of like I want to help people celebrate those small changes. And then again, it's going to be consumer choice of, like, my big vision is, like, the restaurants have a little yellow sticker when my brand colors, Mr. Stroodles approved. So as a consumer, you then go into the restaurant that is doing a little bit. Yes, they will still have, and again, like, I have to have pack, because I mean, it's food products, so my packaging is also not perfect, but I'm open and transparent about it, because again, my bigger picture is to inspire people, and then, like, it has to come at a compromise. So it's about, again, like, being open and transparent about, like, it's not perfect. I mean, pallet wrap, again, like, so if people know, like, obviously, like, everything you get delivered is normally to be stable in plastic foil. There's no solution anywhere close on the horizon for that. So there's just things like, so even zero waste shops accept that. So I mean, and if they can, so like, well, because they have no choice. I mean, either you do your refill, whatever, coffee, rice, that still has to come on a pallet. And no logistics company will accept that, because you can't wrap it in paper. The first, like, if the truck breaks, if it's a paper wrap, it will all break down. So it's about, like, I want to help. So I, like, in some form, I want to create this little trademark that, yes, like you guys, or like most know, like, whatever, the vegan trademark, and all those other ones. So, like, again, the Mr. Stroodles approved, but, like, the criteria to get it and what we're celebrating are very different, or, like, much easier, because it needs to be much easier to attain, and it needs to be meaningful.
Yeah, and I think going back to the little paperclip example, I can picture that, on a menu, for instance, you have the little Mr. Stroodles.
Correct.
And you can, the restaurant, if they wanted to, could put the little character on the menu, and he could even say something like, by the way, did you know that we recycle all of our stuff? Or and then over on by the drinks, he says, by the way, did you know that we turn all of our peels into marmalade after we're done? Something like that. And, like, kind of guides you through the menu and shares little tidbits.
Yeah, exactly. It's a third party. So he's also, again, designed on purpose in a way where he can be customized. Like, if it's a football club, you can give him, like, whatever, he can wear a jersey or, like, a scarf. He has, like, a top hat, like, you can print any logo on that. So it's exactly like, whatever, you know how like as kids, like you can dress one of those paper dolls. So
Yeah.
same here, like dress him up, customize him, and yeah, he can be your messenger. And like a venue, I mean, you actually like even texted me because you were at a venue, like you one of my customers by coincidence, and like they use the character. So yeah, it's a venue, like either you can use my marketing assets as little or as much as possible.
Hmm.
But I think the ones that get it, I mean, they're grateful because I mean I'm basically doing all the work for them.
Yeah.
Because yeah, they can basically, well, in some form, if they want to hide behind it, great, whatever the motivation is, like I'm still reaching my purpose of creating awareness. So again, maybe also like one of those critical points. So I don't care like if someone buys my product with the prime objective of marketing because they want to create some nice PR effect. I still reach what I want, which is awareness.
Hmm.
Because so many people are going to see and talk about my products, and then suddenly, even if with 1% I make the change, that's fine. It's fine that this guy, the restaurant owner, just bought it with a marketing objective. So again, yes, I have quite controversial or in some form like different opinions on like this whole sustainability topic, but I feel this is the way we can drive it home with the most number of people in
Hmm.
that sense. Because I mean that's yeah, like you say, I mean like it's a great example of this family doing, but like you can't, like you will never be able to get 99% of people to do anything anywhere close. So this is something to be proud of what this family is doing, but like it's about like get it, it's the masses that I'm after.
Hmm.
Like so, and it's hence a compromise. So yeah, I mean if you look at my packaging, I mean like back to the example of conscious consumerism, like if you go to whatever Boots or whatnot, like the deodorant from Unilever, like the Axe deodorant, sells more for a reason than the eco deodorant next to it, just because of the pure packaging. Again, back to stereotypes. Sustainable packaging has to be brown boxes and whatnot.
Right.
So again, I've decided to consciously take a compromise. Like it needs to be visually appealing, like to create that effect of like I want to buy that, I want to try it.
Hmm.
So that's what I mean. It's just, I mean, in my opinion, it's just like about being open and transparent about like a lot of those things. Because I'm doing it for a reason. I'm not doing it for just because, but like it's because I mean that has the bigger picture, and then it's a very well, it's a very theological question. What's worse, like a little bit of like packaging compromise versus the potential to have changed X amounts of people behaviors over 5 to 10 years. And but I mean I'm willing to take that gamble, and like again, like it's still there's nothing to lose. I mean like this is my approach to it. Like I'm doing something
Hmm.
about it. It has to come at a quite calculable price in a sense of like yeah the packaging, but yeah, so that's kind of like my approach to it. Yeah.
What was the moment you realized that this was what you wanted to do? I mean, it's such a, it's so much fun, and it's a really cool idea. Was there a specific spark that caused this?
Well, no, I mean it was like basically how it all started. It was like I saw tubular pasta being used for fun in that sense. I guess it was in the right mindset, right time. I was always like being like diverse with my wife and stuff like that. Again, like with the topic was always of sustainability was omnipresent. But then again, like I'm just also a normal human being in the sense of like you don't like I didn't want to do the big compromises either in that sense. So it's about like I think it all then made sense in that moment.
Mhm.
And hence basically that's how it all then started. I was like, hey, wow, look, this is so easy. It kind of so I think it started because it impacted, like it showed me, oh look, this is so easy. Like I mean, this is surprisingly easy. It's so small, and so I mean, normally the reactions is like, oh wow, this is so genius. This is so small. The people were like, normally when they see the pastas, were like, you could see them processing because they don't understand how easy it can be. And
Right.
so I think because the effect it had on me, I think that's when I was like, okay, this needs to kind of like this needs to go out and like be used like as a moment or as like a touch point to make people changes, because I mean if it allowed to change me, like it can impact that. So I think that was probably like the spark of like having it kind of feeling it on your own skin, so to say.
Hmm. And what are your future plans for Stroodles?
Yeah, well, the idea is obviously like, so one hand, obviously more products, but then again, always under the premise of like uncompromising and like fun to use. So kind of like the stuff we talked earlier. But I think the big thing will be what we mentioned earlier, to establish this Mr. Stroodles approved brand, like, or like trademark, whatever the terminology will be. But it's basically like, yeah, so because again, like I'm trying to build a brand rather than a product business. So the product and such in some form or another just brand touch points of like bringing people closer to that experience and kind of giving me that credibility. Oh yeah, look, it's as easy as a pasta straw, so let me try his other products. I'm sure they're as easy as well. And like, oh, he approved this event, so cool, it must be cool. So again, so that's so I'm building a brand that's going to become a recognizable it becomes a symbol for sustainability, for the sustainability 2.0. So at the moment, like everything is geared, all the collaborations we're doing. I mean, there's a song in the making. We have an edible dress, just waiting for the right opportunity to show it all. But it's all to kind of like build that brand equity and develop. And so the ideal is like in a supermarket, you come in and there's a whole aisle of Mr. Stroodles approved products. Then again, they're not necessarily going to be edible, but like again, yes, for economic reasons, people will still buy, bars will still buy the paper straws, but at least let me find like the as good as it gets paper straw and like bring like help push that. So so it's the bigger picture is just yet to create that brand and create that omnipresence and encourage even more small changes across industries and like with an extended product portfolio.
I think that's really cool. So we all need to get ready to be
Stroodle.
Stroodeled, and see Stroodles, Mr. Stroodles everywhere, which I think is awesome, and it's a great broader mission to have. So one question I like to ask is,
Sure.
based on all of these ideas about little steps and taking small action and et cetera, what can people do on a daily basis to be more sustainable in their daily lives?
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of like back to the conscious consumerism question. It's just like, I guess, like, and awareness. So I think, because again, yeah, basically yeah, you can go Google the top 10 sustainable tips. I mean, recently I read whatever, you can put like an old plastic bottle in the toilet in the thingy so that like less water fills the tank and so on. So yeah, you can go read about all those things. But again, this back to the point, this is compromise. You need to consciously do something. Whereas I think it's the minimum we can demand from people is just that awareness. And then yeah, for people who are further on that journey, yeah, kind of go Google the usual things, what to do. I mean, reusable bottle, like the avocado bags and so on. But then again, for a lot of people, I think it's just like what you can do is just conscious consumerism. Probably is the easiest answer. It's just like be aware and make your decisions consciously. Because I mean, yeah, I mean, there's no for different people, those top 10 tips, some may resonate, some may not. But I think it's just like just be conscious about what you do. And even again, yeah, if you're thirsty, but there's like only plastic bottles that are being sold, well, again, it's a conscious choice at least. But you even in those cases of those people, again, we're talking about mass market, they've made that choice still consciously, so it's still something to be proud of in some form or another. And then maybe they can then reuse the bottle for something else or whatever, refill it at home. But like, you see where I'm going. So it's more like, I mean, just do it consciously, even if it's not the most sustainable decision. But the fact that like, yeah, you are out and you have gotten something that's not unsustainable, something in your head says it's unsustainable, even for a split second. That's all I'm trying to do, is create that touch point and slowly build out that frame of mind of people to go through the world noticing those things. You don't necessarily need to implement them, but like great if you do, but like it's just being aware of what's happening and sparking conversations or whatnot. Because I mean, that's all from the masses. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah,
and the people who know what they're doing, I can't give them any tips. They know better than me what the top things to do are. So yeah,
I think that's a really and I see where you're going with this. It's really just having that moment in your mind when you think, is this sustainable or not? And for I suppose what you're saying, for many people, that's that's a new way of thinking. And so the whole point is, how do we encourage that thought process to even happen in the first place?
Yeah, correctly. We're trying to create a frame of mind for people. Yeah, but then again, so it's all going to be relative to someone's lifestyle. So it's going to be like very different. And it's basically like I'm trying to give people. I mean, that was always my strategy. Also, like from a sales perspective, just like give people as many like the pitch as general as possible, and then people are going to pick whatever resonates with them. So
Right.
same here. It's just like because again, that's the only way to reach the masses. Like give them like which I'm just giving people lots of like mindset rules or whatever you want to call it, again, not behavioral scientists, but like, and then everyone can pick whatever resonates to them to change their awareness in some form or another.
Yeah, really interesting. And for people who want to learn more about Stroodles and try the product or anything like that, where are the best places for people to go?
Cool. Yeah, so first, like obviously check out the website, stroodles.co.uk. Instagram, follow us at Stroodles, or Twitter, TikTok, the whole shebang, LinkedIn. And then if you're in the UK, so you can get it in London in Whole Foods and Selfridges. You can try our edible cup in The Alchemist. So they're in 20 different cities all across the UK. It's an affogato type cocktail, so be careful. It's quite strong. So yeah, so I mean, on the website you can see. I mean, there's like bars, restaurants, or some of you probably have tried like the pasta straw somewhere at the festival or whatnot without even realizing it. But like, yeah. Or for further questions, I mean, you can email me at info@stroodles.co.uk.
Excellent. Well, Maxim, thank you so much for your time. I think the work that you're doing, both within the actual tableware products, but also the broader picture of changing the way that sustainability is talked about and the perception of sustainability is really important. And I hope the impact is visible sooner rather than later, but it is a process. And I think your approach is fun and unique and optimistic, which is a lot of fun. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Happy Stroodling, everyone.
Happy Stroodling. GlobeChain is the largest and fastest growing ESG reuse marketplace that helps companies become more sustainable, save money, and achieve their ESG and SDG targets. GlobeChain connects companies from the construction, retail, hospitality, and office sectors with nonprofits, small businesses, and people to redistribute unneeded items, reducing waste from going to landfill. From fixtures and fittings going to thrift stores and being upcycled by fashion students, to construction material being reused to help build schools, items are requested super quickly and help generate impact to local communities. So far, GlobeChain has diverted over 58 million kilograms of items from landfill, and they've helped over 50 million people across the world, saving them 350 million pounds through reuse. Check them out at globechain.com.